Welcome. I'm so glad to have you here. This'll go in this'll go in the opening package, right? Hi everyone. Welcome to this week's episode. I guess we could call them episodes of Grandma Talks K-Pop. If it's your first time here for my K-Pop news segments, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here. And if you're a regular, you know the drill. Please make sure and leave comments and I will comment back. The original goal of this was to do it as a live, but I need to make some changes in order to do that. So it'll be a few weeks before we go live, but hey, this is great too. So I have I have so much to cover that I just want to get right into it. Okay, so here we go. Here's my, you guys, here we go. Here's my list for today. There's a lot. So the first thing I want to do is I want to just catch you guys up just a little bit on what's going on. Oh yes, I do know the name. Okay, just want to follow up a little bit on GOT7. So as you know, or you should know, or you might not know, but GOT7's contract with JYP ended on January 19th, and none of the members wanted to re-sign. Two of them said they would if everyone else would, but I think they knew everyone else wouldn't. So that was their good reason for leaving. But three of the members already are doing some great things. So first of all, Jackson has a new single. I believe it was out yesterday. I haven't watched it yet. And it's called Alone. So if you are a GOT7, I Got 7, I'm sure you've already watched it, but if you haven't, check that out. Young Bin is signed for a major role, or one of the main roles, in a new TVN drama called Devilish Judge. And he was in Psychometric late last year. And this one is going to also be, I believe, in the second half of 2021. It'll be on TVN. And I'm not sure, but you know, a lot of times TVN dramas end up on Netflix, so we can cross our finger on that. And then Mark, the Chinese-American member, is settled in at home in LA, and his family's so happy to have him. And they actually built an annex in their backyard, like a little studio apartment for Mark to live. And when I saw that, that just kind of made my heart go pitter-pat. I think that's so neat that his family did that for him. Okay, so that's all the catch up on GOT7 there. Okay, next, BlackPink finally held their online concert this past Sunday, and they really did pretty good. They made about 10.5 million. They had 280,000 views, and the thing that I really have heard a lot about is Rosé's solo. I watched it. Apparently she's going to be putting out an album as well, but that's the one thing that I did see, that I did watch online, because my daughter sent it to me and she wanted my opinion of it. Yeah, so I've seen Rosé's solo. The reason why I wanted to bring this up is that YG did this concert on YouTube. It was a paid YouTube concert. It was interesting because one of the things that YG, I think is YG Plus, which is a subsidiary of YG, is partnering with Big Hit in, is media. And I read in all the articles that I read that had to do with online concerts and things like that. So Big Hit has used another company to produce their online concerts. And so I wonder what's going to happen. Are they going to go through the other company and use that technology, or will they be in the future using YouTube? I don't know. It doesn't sound to me. If anybody knows, let me know. But I wanted to bring that up because it's really interesting. Now I'm going to start watching YG more. As some of you know, I've been pretty mad at YG over the past little while, and anyway, and Yeah, but I'm going to start watching, like keeping a closer tab on YG, because I think it might give some clues as to what types of things may be happening in Big Hit or vice versa. So anyway, that is BlackPink. If you saw the BlackPink concert, please let me know in the comments. I really want to know what you thought of it, and especially what you thought of Rosé's solo, since that seems to be having a lot of coverage. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is the second gen comeback. And this year is being really hyped as a comeback of second generation. And it's the newest of the second generation. You know, I kind of think when I think of the division between second generation, it's these groups. It's these particular groups that are kind of the end of the second gen, and then the beginning of the third gen is EXO, BTS, of course, BlackPink. Those are kind of all the beginning of the third generation. So anyway, second gen comebacks that we can look forward to. And oh, I was going to say, the reason why there's comebacks is because military service is ending. And we have 3 really well-known groups and a couple others that will be all back together this year, and actually the beginning of this year. The first one that I want to talk about is SHINee. SHINee is with SM. If you watch my channel on a regular basis, you'll know that I love Taemin, and Taemin is a member of SHINee. He's the maknae of SHINee. And so now they had a member pass away a couple of years ago, unfortunately. SHINee currently has 4 members, and everybody is back from the military except for Taemin, who has yet to go. And so they are going to do a comeback while they're all there, and then I think Taemin has to go by the end of this year. So we may get 2 comebacks from them, which will be nice. Now, they have already done a comeback, and there's a name for it, and I meant to write it down, but I didn't because I thought I would remember it, but sometimes the brain. I'm not indicating that I'm stupid. I'm indicating that I'm old. Next one, JYP's group 2PM, and 2PM will come back sometime after March when their last member, Juno, will be back from the military, and they absolutely are planning on a comeback as soon as they can get together with Juno. The last of the 3 well-known groups that I would say well-known in the US, maybe, is YG's group Big Bang. And they will come back also as a 4-member group. Daesung, G-Dragon, Taeyang, Top. Oh my gosh. My daughter will beat me up if she knew I had to delay. Anyway, so they were supposed to do their comeback. They actually came back in 2019, and they were supposed to make their comeback at Coachella last year, but as we all know, everything shut down last year. So they are planning to do a comeback in later this year, or maybe in the spring or summer. But they are saying that they will do a comeback. Okay. Now, I want to kind of make a segue here. I don't know how smooth of a segue it's going to be, but we're going to try. The reason why I wanted to bring back this, the comebacks of these groups, is kind of to make a point. Well, no, first of all, I want you guys to know they're coming back. I know that many of you are multi-stans. Some of you aren't, but if you know, you can still listen to music and love BTS and not betray them, because guess what? They listen to other groups too. So they're not going to care if you listen to other music, okay? They will not care. In fact, Big Bang, if you watch any of their early interviews or things like that, Big Bang was one of their inspirations. Big Bang. Also really focused on hip-hop and things like that, and their rappers are insane. Top and G-Dragon. If you want to explore in some of the earlier K-pop, listen to their music. You don't have to stan them, but listen to their music. Okay, we've got, here's the point I want to make. You guys are probably saying, okay, grandma's crazy tonight. Here's some things. There's a lot of debate among ARMY as to how BTS should enlist. And we're so grateful that we got a couple of extra years because of the change in the Korean law and because they have actually received a cultural medal from the president of Korea, which is the qualification to be able to have this 2-year delay in enlistment. So not every K-pop idol or group will be able to have a delay. They needed to make it very special, just like they do for the other, I guess you could call occupations that get those extensions or don't have to go at all, which is sports recognition and classical music recognition. So to be a K-pop artist only will not let other people delay their enlistment. They have to have received a medal from the president for cultural reasons. And as I can see right now, that belongs to BTS. No other idol groups have ever received that. Okay, so here's what I want to say. I just want to talk to you about that date. So there's a lot of people that say BTS should just go in one at a time or a couple of at a time. Send Jin and Suga together, and then send Hobie and RM together, and then send the 95s together, and then JK. And then everybody can do solo things or do whatever. Here is one reason. And then they say everybody else can do solo stuff while the others are gone. Here's a couple things I want to point out. Okay, the first one is SHINee. Okay, SHINee's last release as a full group was in September of 2018. And they're planning a comeback the end of this month. And some of you may say, oh, that's not that long. That's just 2.5 years. But remember what I said? Taemin still has to go to the military. So you need to add another 18 months onto that. Now it's not consecutive. You know, there'll be a break in there because I'm guessing he'll probably go by the end of the year. But you've got a total of 4 years where they're not together as a group. 4 years. The next one, but it could be helped by an example that I'm going to give you later. Okay, the next one, 2 p.m. JYP, they will do their comeback sometime after March. Their last album that they released, their last full album, non-compilation album, was released in 2016. And now we're in 2021. So that's 4.5 to 5 years. They did release a compilation album while some of them were in the military. So they just picked and chose and threw it on an album in 2019, which is really a good strategic move because it keeps them fresh for the fans. And I think they also did a compilation in 2017, but the last one was 2019. And then we have Big Bang, whose last album was Made, which my daughter was sweet and installed in my car. It was made in 2016. Even though they got back, the 4 of them, in, wasn't last year, it was the year before, so 2019, for whatever reason, they still haven't made a comeback. And the reason could be YG because, you know, they were in that kind of legal mess, which all of their artists got caught up in. Treasure, Black. Anyway, okay. So, if BTS were to go the way some fans suggest, we've got a 5-year age difference between Jin and JK. So that means that we are going to have Jin enters, JK enters 5 years after that. He's in for 1.5 years. So we're talking about 6.5 years. 6.5 years of absence for the full group. And part of it's because of this big H span. Okay. Big Hit has the ability to do like JYP did, you know, put together compilation albums, put together variety show content, put together a lot of content, but still you're not getting the full group. Now the other school of thought, of which I'm a part of, is that they all go in at once. And here's the reason why I'm thinking that. When a lot of these groups first had to enter the military, the time frames were 21 months, 24 months, things like that. It used to be 2 full years. Then it kind of changed depending on which arm of the service you went into. If you went into the Marines or the Air Force or the police, it was more. But it went down to 21 months. Now it's only 18 months. They only have to be in for 18 months. And so you could have, you know, if you do it the way that some people want, just let them go in, you know, in parts, you still have 7 years. You have a 7-year span between the time that the first one, Jin and Suga, go in, and the time that the last one gets out, JK. That's 7 years. 7 years that you're talking about. 6.5, something like that. And people say they can pursue their solo careers, they can do this or that. Yeah, they can, but there's kind of a caveat to that too, which I'll talk about. If they go in all at once, 18 months, and maybe they'll space it out, you know, a month or so, depending on when the military takes them. But let's say they go in, you're talking 18, 19, 20 months at the most that they'll be out. And as I mentioned, for 2PM, JYP put out some collaboration albums. And so a Big Hit could easily create content before they go in, publish it while the boys are in the military. So it would still keep them fresh. The other thing with 18 months, if you look at Western artists, people like Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran, Shawn Mendes, you know, anybody like that in the West, generally they only put out albums every couple of years. And as BTS is becoming more and more global, and they've got 2 whole years at this point to continue to make their impact, and people say they're an old group, and you know what? They are old group in Korea. They are old group in Korea. They are a new group in the West. And so, based on their Western fans, no one's going to think anything of it if they don't put out an album for 2 years. It's not that big of a deal. They may think something of it if BTS disappears for 7 years, but they won't think anything of it if they disappear for less than 2 years. So that's some of my thinking behind having them go in all at once. I think it's the smart thing, and it will just really keep their career together. And from a business perspective, that's what I want to do. I want them to continue to be relevant as a group. The other thing with their Western presence is they need to be as a group. If they're not promoting as a group, then people will look at it as like the hiatus that One Direction took, or the hiatus that any groups have taken in the West. Usually if they say they're going on a hiatus, that means they're disbanding. And I'm pretty dang sure that they're not going to disband based on all the comments that every member has made in the past. And the other thing, and I always kind of thought it was curious why you don't see BTS really promoting alone. You know, they do their mixtapes, but when they do their mixtapes, there's not a lot of promotion. They're available digitally, mostly. And even when they perform or collaborate with others, you don't see them separately. And I became aware of why this happens in an interview that Max did regarding his collaboration with Suga and Blueberry Eyes. And what said the question was, why did Suga not appear in your video? You know, did it have anything to do with COVID or something like that? The question was something like that. And he said, Big Hit doesn't allow it. They cannot appear separately in somebody else's collaboration video. They're not allowed because they are a group. And that's one thing that Petey Bong has always preached to them. You are a group. You are a group. You are a group. And I think that is so wise, because when people start promoting individually and it's like, okay, here's my individual thing. I want to pursue solo career. I'll come back to the group. But that's when things start to decay, to fall apart. And I think it's so wise. And I think that's one of the reasons why BTS has been able to survive through so much grief over the past almost 8 years. But survive and be strong is because they are a group. They are a family. They want to promote as a group. They get satisfaction in doing solos as part of the group. They are a group. They're a group. And so I don't think that what many people have said in terms of they can pursue solo interests or whatever while they're gone, it's not part of the BTS culture.
So watch me